All right, joining me now, usually this is the spot for Sal Licata in the Traina Thoughts segment, but Sal is getting cataract surgery. Guy's not even 50 yet, and he's getting cataract surgery. So filling in for Sal, joining me for this edition of Traina Thoughts, is an enormous NFL fan, so it's a perfect time to speak to him. And he also happens to be one of the best in the business in the WWE. Royal Rumble coming up this Saturday at 6 o'clock. Seth freaking Rollins. Seth, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. How's it going?
What up, man? Yeah, no, I have two good working eyes. So
Thank God.
I'm here for you. Got LASIK like a decade ago, and it's still rocking. So hopefully I can avoid that cataract surgery in the future.
I felt like I was in a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode a little, because I wanted to text my buddy to see how he did, but he can't see the phone. What am I supposed to do? So
yeah,
it's a problem. So like I said, we're not going to do a wrestling interview here. We're going to talk a lot about football, the Super Bowl. You're going to New Orleans next week, right? For Radio Row?
I'll be in New Orleans next week. I got Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see what happens. Friday, Saturday situation going on. But yeah, I will be in the city doing some radio interviews and some media and all that good stuff.
All right. We'll do a little wrestling here right at the top before we get to all the NFL stuff, because it is the Royal Rumble this Saturday, 6 o'clock on Peacock. And the Rumble is one of the best events for the WWE universe. Tell me, as a wrestler, I'm curious, do you like the Rumble? Or I would imagine when you're in a regular singles match, you're flying all over the place. You're doing these unbelievable moves. The Rumble, I think, is a little more calm, but you've got like 20 people in the ring, which has to be bizarre because you don't do that on a regular basis. So tell me how you view the Rumble match that we got coming up on Saturday.
It's just kind of different. I don't know that it's better or worse. I think in some ways, because you're sharing the workload with 29 other guys, there's like a little less stress. It's like a team sport. You're kind of all in it together. So you do your part. And that's all you have to really worry about, as opposed to a match, which is entirely yours. If you're out there for 20, 30 minutes, the microscope is entirely on you the whole time. And so you feel like you have to be on all the time, totally focused. Whereas when it's the Rumble, you're just like a cog in the machine. You're a gear that churns. And if you churn properly and everybody else churns, then you create a good little machine to go. So the pressure is higher, though, because there are so many eyes on it. You want it to be memorable. It's the kickoff to our biggest part of the year for us, WrestleMania season, basically from January until mid-April now is like, that's where the levels go up. So the pressure is high to deliver, but you get to share that pressure with 29 other folks. So it's kind of easier and harder in some ways.
I wrote this today, actually, in my column. I think this is a really exciting one, too, because last year, everyone sort of knew the Cody finishing the story was the huge storyline. Everyone sort of expected it. It played out. Obviously, there were glitches with The Rock and all that. We don't have to get into it. But this year, I mean, it's you, Roman's in it, Cena comes back for it, CM Punk. The shock level this year could be pretty good. So should be a lot of fun on Saturday.
Yeah, man, it's going to be star-studded. I mean, it's packed, going to be there at Lucas Oil Stadium. I think we got about 65,000 tickets sold, so it could be the biggest Rumble of all time. Star-studded wise on the men's side, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you just don't know. It's a pick 'em, really, at this point. I don't know what Vegas is saying about the odds, but there's so many people that could win. There's a lot of matchups that you could see main eventing WrestleMania, and so it's very interesting. I think that makes it a lot more fun for us, but particularly for our audience and anybody watching at home, it's a much more enjoyable experience when you can't predict the winner.
Yeah, and it's a perfect week for it. It's the dead week before the Super Bowl, so I don't know, Triple H, Nick Khan, whoever decided this was the week, very smart scheduling from that standpoint. The best app for your big game party is actually on your phone. It's called Underdog. Underdog is the best place to cash in on all your takes during the big game. Which players are going off and which ones are ice cold? Make your entries in just a few taps. With their pick'em game, you could win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats. You can do yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and much, much more. They've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from, and you can cook up some entries for a shot to win real cash prizes while you watch the big game. Every dog deserves a second chance, And with Underdog Rescues, you can get your money back and receive a promo if an early injury causes your entry to lose. I've been enjoying using Underdog this whole season, and for the big game, I think I'm going Saquon Barkley lower on rushing yards and touchdowns. We heard Troy Aikman on SI Media with Jimmy Traina says he expects the big game to be very, very low scoring. That means clock moving a lot, maybe not as many possessions, and with Barkley playing so well this postseason, everyone's going to be all over the Saquon Barkley higher play. I will go lower. Underdog is the best place to play pick'em. Download the app, sign up with promo code Sports Illustrated, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code Sports Illustrated. Must be 18 years or older, 19 years or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 years or older in Colorado for some games, 21 years or older in Massachusetts and Arizona. And you must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your next play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Royal Rumble this Saturday, 6 o'clock, Peacock. Make sure you check it out. All right, so Seth's a huge Chicago Bears fan.
Yes, sir.
Huge. So we'll get to Zoom in a sec, but I got to ask you about Ben Johnson. You must be beyond thrilled.
I am. I'm very excited. He was the one that I think a lot of the teams were courting this offseason, really wanted him to come in. We'll see. I think the thing about being a Bears fan is you're kind of sick of being excited about potential, right? You want to be excited about results. And so do I believe he'll produce results? Of course I do. I'm a dedicated fan, but history tells me that it may be different. I don't know. It is hard to get yourself excited as a Bears fan every offseason only to come in and be disappointed. But I really like the staff he's assembled thus far. I think Dennis Allen as DC is going to be awesome. And I think, with him calling the plays, Ben Johnson calling the plays from the sideline in sync with Caleb, there's a lot of positive potential on the table. I'm glad it's him and we're not talking about somebody else. So that's a good start for the offseason.
I don't want to frame it like it was all his fault, but were you disappointed at all in Caleb Williams' rookie season, or you thought it was fine? What was your take on Caleb?
I thought it was a great rookie season. I mean, I think the things, considering the dude lost the head coach and 2 OCs during the process, there was clearly a lot of dysfunction in that organization, and that's hard for a rookie quarterback. That's literally the exact opposite situation that you want your rookie quarterback to come into. You want them coming into stability and excitement and kind of a smooth operation that they can just slide into. And Caleb had a lot to deal with. I think if you look at the numbers, the one thing that stands out are the sacks, right? I mean, that's off the charts. And anybody who's a fan or a player would agree that number's got to come down. But you look at the throws that he made and, the throws that he made or plays that he made that kind of got taken off the table sometimes. I loved the rookie season. I thought it was great. And it gives me hope for the future. Like, I definitely think he's a guy that can lead this franchise for the next decade and hopefully to some big playoff games and wins. But we got to get that sack number down. A lot of that's going to be on Caleb, and I'm sure he'd admit that. But a lot of that's going to be on the play calling and the structure of the offense and just the system. So I think, you're going to see a whole new team next year, obviously. But as far as a rookie performance goes, sucks he's got to be compared to C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels. But I think it was a really, really good rookie year.
Yeah. I know you're a little busy with this whole WWE thing, but how do you not have a Bears podcast or something?
You keep your eyes on it, man. We're working on something. Yeah, it's the problem is getting it off the ground, right? Just getting something going and getting something I'm happy with. I do have very little bandwidth, considering WWE is a year-long endeavor that takes up a lot of my time. Being a dad too, you know what I mean? That takes up some time as well. So, those are priorities number one and number two. And then the Bears they're sitting there and we're looking at something. So keep your eyes peeled in 2025. We're trying to get something together. It should be a lot of fun, I hope, if we can get it off the ground.
Nice. Do you see in your post wrestling career, whenever that is, I mean, you got a long way to go probably, but is sports media, I mean, would you want to just be still associated with WWE, or would you want to branch out into, I mean, you seem like, as big an NFL fan as possible. Would you want to branch out into NFL media, all sports media, or would you just basically, you, Becky, and your daughter just go off into the sunset and you don't need another job?
I mean, family life rules, man. I have a great time when it's just me and the girls. I love just chilling and hanging out and taking the kid to all of our little activities, or dance classes and our gymnastics classes and all that stuff. But I also would love to kick Tom Brady out of the booth and take his spot. He's busy owning the Raiders and stuff. So when I'm done winning championships, I'd love to come in there and do that. My dream is to sit in the booth and call Bears games. I mean, I would love to be on color for one of those things. Play by play. That's a bit. I don't know. Yeah. That might be over my pay grade, but I can do some color commentary, man. You put a microphone in front of me, I know what I'm talking about. I can get some stuff done. I think I might add a little flavor to it too.
That would be awesome.
Something a little bit different. So, if anybody's out there listening, you're looking for a new color guy in your booth.
Yeah, Chicago media should step up. Yeah, Chicago media, get Seth involved there.
Let's go.
It's funny you mentioned Brady. I was going to ask you, do you have NFL announcers you like and dislike when you're watching on Sundays?
Oh, sure, of course. I mean, I have preferences. I understand, though. I'm not just a guy that sits and watches because I've got experience. I see what it takes to be a live color guy or a live play-by-play guy. It's not just, you're not just there saying what's happening. You know what I mean? There's so much that goes into analysis, delivery. You got to get the timing with the ad breaks. You got people in your ear giving you cues and stuff like that. It's not just you go out there and wing it. It is a difficult process, and it's something that takes a lot of time. So I got a ton of respect for anybody who sits in that booth on Sundays and gets the job done. But yeah, I mean, there's guys that, I love John Madden when Madden was in there. I love Al Michaels. People give him a hard time.
You told me that once before. Yep.
Yeah, people give him a hard time on Thursday, but I love him, dude. I think he's great. Herb Street's done a great job there too. I really like Tirico. Who I love too is Greg Olson. I think Greg Olson is amazing. He's incredible too. So yeah, I got my guys, and people that get a hard time like Romo or Collinsworth. I get it, but man, you can't. There's a passion and an excitement there that comes through when those guys are broadcasting, and that I think is one of the most important things. If you feel that excitement watching a game, and you think those guys played for years, how many of these scenarios have they seen, and they're still fired up about it. I love that. So I got respect for everybody that does that job.
Give me your number one announcer pet peeve when you're watching an NFL game. Is there something that drives you crazy? I just finished interviewing Troy, and I've always said Troy's the only one who will actually take the officials to task. Everyone else is too afraid to. So that's one of mine. You got a pet peeve when you're watching an NFL game?
Gosh, yeah. You know what? They really have covered it because they bring in the rules expert all the time. But there was before the rules experts would come in, Mike Pereira's of the world, there were so many times when these guys would just not know the rules of the game. You know what I mean? They just lapse on something simple, like penalties or what have you. And I think that kind of drives me a little crazy. But man, I don't know that I have a full pet peeve. I guess, being a Bears fan, it's you hear a lot of critiques of Chicago, so it's that gets old after a while. But what are you gonna do? The team's got to play better.
You're also getting the I don't want to use a derogatory word. You're getting the lesser broadcast booths with the Bears usually. You're not getting a lot of Brady and Burkhardt and Nance and Romo, so that's got to be rough.
Yeah.
So you tell me, when did I know you said it earlier, you're going to be in New Orleans, what days? Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, I think Wednesday night, Thursday will be my big day. That's when I'll be there, kind of in the morning doing all the media. I think I have some
Right.
Engagements on Wednesday nights and parties and stuff and people to see and all that good stuff. But I think Thursday's the big day. Yeah.
That's good because so there's a sports media writer for The Ringer, Brian Curtis, who does an excellent job, and he writes a column every year about Radio Row, and he has a thing where you want to be a Thursday or Friday guy on Radio Row. Monday, Tuesday is usually not the A-list guys, and then on Thursday, Friday, that's when the A-listers come in. So it's good for you. You're on a Thursday. That's a good standing right there.
Of course, man. I'm not coming in on I got to be an A-list guy, man. I'm not coming in on a B or a C-list. Let's come on now.
I love it. He does a great column every year on Radio Row. When you do Radio Row and you have to go through like just interview after interview after interview after, what's the dumbest question you get, or the one that makes you want to like take off the headphones and be like, why am I doing this freaking show?
Oh man, I don't know. You know what? I don't have a lot of hate for it because like I find that a lot of the outlets aren't like pro wrestling savvy, and so they ask a lot of the standard pro wrestling questions, you know, like, oh, what's your biggest moment, or who's your favorite opponent, or stuff like that. But like, I always find I enjoy the process of educating people who are less educated about our industry, because I think our industry is so fascinating. And I find that when people learn even just a little bit about it, or they talk to someone who has any amount of sense, you know, they realize, oh, these guys aren't all just big dummies that, you know, bounce around in a ring in their underwear. Like there's some intellect that goes into this business. And so I always find it fascinating what people do and don't know. And I enjoy the process of educating. So I kind of have fun with it.
In interviews, do you get people who use that term fake? Do they go there with you? And because I know you guys really don't like the term, and anyone who has knowledge of what the WWE usually doesn't use that term, but there's still old school people who like to throw that around. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I find that people, even when they bring it up knowing that like they're almost embarrassed to say it, because they basically just don't know how to describe what we do, which is understandable, but also kind of cool because it's such a unique thing. Yeah. And so they throw out the word like, it's not fake, but like it's predetermined or something along those lines. Like, how do you respond to that? You know? And so you get it sometimes, but I think the days of people being like, people assuming that we pretend that it's an authentic, you know, real life graps fest. Yeah. I think those days are so far behind us that you just don't run into those old hats anymore. So like, there's nobody that I got to slap around to show them that it's not fake. I think those
Dr.
days,
David Schultz, one of the great clips of all time.
I think those things are done. I think it's such an antiquated thing, and I think we're kind of really moving the business forward at such a fast pace that everybody seems to know it. They just don't know how to phrase it sometimes.
I was lucky enough. I went to the Saturday night's main event when it first came, the one that was in New York.
Oh, nice.
The past one. And WWE was nice. That was up close. And I said after that, like, you have to go and see what you guys are doing in that ring, and the physicalness and the athleticism. Everyone should just go experience that just to see for themselves, because there's a big difference between watching it on TV and seeing it up close.
Yeah, it's a different experience for sure. It's one of those where like, I don't know. I find that the live experience is special compared to some sports I really like watching at home. Like I prefer it on TV. You know, like football is hard to follow in person. Especially if you're on the sideline or whatever, and you're not terribly familiar with the game, it's hard to keep track of what's going on. It's not like basketball where you can just kind of follow the ball and everything goes. Like there's so much happening in a football play that affects the play, you know, and it's tricky. And MMA is the same way. I've gone to some UFC pay-per-views, and I just don't love you can't see what's happening. You know what I mean? The holds and the submission attempts and stuff. It's so difficult. And it also happens so quickly. Whereas wrestling's like this wild kind of spectacle. It's sort of like it's a play. It slowly develops. There is some fast-paced action, obviously, and some hard-hitting stuff, but it's just a different experience live, and it really sucks you in and it really takes you out of everywhere else that you're at, and you're kind of forced to focus on what's happening, and you get a new appreciation for it. So yeah, I would agree. I think it's one of those things where like live, you need to experience it live to fully kind of grasp what's happening.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I've we've discussed this a million times, me and my buddy Sal, in this segment about how I'll never go to an NFL game again as long as I live, because I just think the TV experience is so much better. You know, on a 4th and inches.
Yeah.
Is a guy out of bounds? What's the refs calling? On top of which, it's played in the middle of winter. It's like 5 degrees outside most of those games. And we live in a time where like people just behave like animals at football games. Like everyone's drunk. There's a million fights. I love a baseball game in the summer. It's 80 degrees. You're casual. You're in the stands. It's fun. Football is like, forget it. It's like going to a war zone going to football games. I mean, you're Seth freaking Rollins, so no one's going to mess with you. You'll just kick their ass. But for the regular Joe Schmo, it's like, who needs this shit?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's yeah, you're right. Baseball in the summer, and like, look, baseball is great, but you don't need to watch every pitch. You know, like not that you can tune out, but if you're having a conversation with somebody, you're likely to just miss a ball or a strike, and then you turn back in when it's crunch time. So yeah, like I said, it's just different. I'm with you. I think even like I've got some buddies who. Like Michael Hayes, classic Freebird, one of the greatest of all time. He's a huge Eagles fan, diehard Eagles fan. They're in the Super Bowl this year again, big year. They come back after a year or two of kind of struggling, and gonna go to the Super Bowl, Michael. Oh God, no. Oh no, why would I do that? I watch it from my couch.
Yeah, for sure.
People just love to watch it from home, and I mean, you see the TV ratings. The NFL keeps going up, everything else keeps going down. So there's a reason for that.
What are your plans for the Super Bowl? I don't know if you guys have a show that night, or do you get to watch it? You go party, you go home with the family. What's the Seth Rollins Super Bowl Sunday situation?
I'll probably be on an airplane, likely. I don't know where Raw is that week. I'm trying to
right, because you'll have Raw Monday.
Yeah, we have Raw on Monday, but I think it might be in Nashville, which might be a bus ride for me. So there's a chance that I'll leave late at night on Sunday after the game. It depends on where we're at. If we're in Iowa or Los Angeles, I'm not exactly sure. So it really depends. If I'm in Los Angeles, I'm probably on an airplane hoping that they have TV. Last year, we got on the plane and the guy comes over the intercom and was like, sorry to tell you, but the internet is down on this flight.
Oh, no.
I'm like, is this a joke? Are you joking? He's like, no, sorry. Like literally this plane.
Was there a riot on the plane?
There was people were very upset. I think it was a shorter flight. I remember I got to catch like the first half or the second half, whichever one. So I didn't see the whole game, but yeah, I think I'll either be on a plane or I'll be able to watch it from the comfort of my living room. We'll see what happens.
Nice. You have any? The big narrative with the Super Bowl is like a lot of people are tired of the Chiefs. They're sick of the Chiefs. The Chiefs win every year. Taylor Swift, blah blah blah. I'm on the side of like, I think it's cool to watch history. So like, I think a three-peat would be cool. Other people like enough. And I think if you would have had Washington here, a lot of people would have been rooting for Washington or Detroit. Philly that fan base doesn't generate a lot of good faith with other fan bases around the NFL. Where do you stand on this Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the Eagles?
I would have loved a Commanders matchup with the Bills. Or even I really thought the Lions were going to get it done. I know they had a lot of injuries and kind of beat themselves in that Commanders game, but I this one I think I'm kind of with you. Like I think the thing with the Chiefs is like they don't feel like that historic team, right? They're great, and it's weird that I'm saying that because you've got probably the most talented quarterback to ever play the game. But he hasn't had a great season overall numbers wise. It didn't feel like we're watching history. It feels, even though they only lost one game in the regular season, it just didn't feel like we were watching. When you're watching the Patriots and nearly get their undefeated season, like you wanted them to lose because the Giants were such underdogs, but it was like if they won that game, it would have felt like history because they were such a historic team. And in weird ways, this one just doesn't feel that way. So I'm kind of with you. The three-peat feels like, oh, wow, never thought we would see that in the NFL just because of the parity in the league. But on the other hand, I'm like, maybe it's not the Chiefs. Maybe we get somebody else. But I'm like, do I really want the Eagles to win? I don't know. I love Saquon. I'd love Saquon to get one. I'd love him to just run for 200 yards and get the MVP and end the thing. But I'd also love to see a three-peat. It'd be something special that I don't want to say definitely, but the odds of seeing that again in our lifetime are pretty wild.
Are you in on the conspiracy that like the NFL wants the Chiefs to win? They help the Chiefs win. Where are you on that?
I mean, I love to say no, but man, some of these calls are just bonkers, bro. They're just bonkers calls. You know, the passing or the roughing the passers on Mahomes. I'm like, these are crazy calls, dude, and they come at some of the wildest times. You know, so I'm just like, You know, the thing with the Bills game, if we want to, reference some specific stuff, I go like, well, I thought the catch that was the James Worthy catch that was ruled a catch. I'm like, well, they both kind of had possession. I've never seen a call like that. They both have possession. The ball touches the ground but doesn't move, and the tie goes to the receiver. Right? That's sort of the rule. So I get that one. And then the fourth down kind of inches. I thought he got it. I could see why the official said he didn't get it, and either way you sliced it, that was not getting overturned on replay. That was not overturned. Right. It wasn't going to happen. So, 100%. I go, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think it's rigged. I don't think it's like the Chiefs. We need them. What does it do? I mean, it doesn't do as much as people make it out to, ratings wise or numbers wise. People love football. They're going to watch it no matter what, whether Taylor Swift is in the damn press box or not.
Let me tell you, as someone who covers this stuff, you'd be the Chiefs get higher ratings than every other team now except the Cowboys. And they said the Chiefs-Bills game set a record last Sunday. I think you're underestimating how many of those
the Swifties, the power of the Swifties. You think if that's the big number? They just
I think they're a big contributing factor.
Wow, that's
amazing. I mean, listen, you guys. I mean, I've gotten a taste of this because I've interviewed so many of you guys. I mean, the wrestling fan is a little out there. The Swifties are the same way. These are like what I've noticed with the wrestling fan is they will consume any WWE content you give them.
Yeah.
The Swifties are the same way. They will consume anything. It's hard for me to fathom because I mean, maybe I'm missing out on life. I don't have anything like that. I mean, like Larry David and Seinfeld maybe, but like I'm not like, following their families to see what,
Sure.
So like if Jerry Seinfeld's wife is on a talk show, I'm not watching it. But if anything related to Taylor Swift is on TV, they watch it. Like it's
all right. Well, hey, maybe
don't get in trouble.
Maybe Goodell and Taylor Swift are in bed, and I'm the crazy one. Maybe that's what's happening here.
Well, I'll put it this way: Goodell's not shedding any tears that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl.
Touche. That's probably fair.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on and doing this here, and you guys have the craziest schedule, so I appreciate you making time. And you got the Royal Rumble Saturday. I like it. 6:00 start time. That's good for old people like me. You like that too, as one of the guys in it?
It's great, except for when we're on the West Coast, and then it's rough.
3:00 West. Give me. So if you're on, what time of day? Because you're doing shows at night, you're traveling, you're working out. What time of day is your body ready to go usually?
Anytime after 5, I'm okay. Like to wrestle. Like okay, after 5, we're in the zone. I can do it. You know what I mean? You start going 3:00, 4:00. That's aggressive. That feels weird. Like my brain is not prepared to be falling down at 3:00.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I can do 4 or 5. 6 is good. The Rumble, we won't be going on for a little later probably, so it'll be good. But I like the early start time. I think it's good for everybody.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, good luck in the Rumble. Appreciate you coming on. We'll have you back. We'll do maybe around WrestleMania. We'll do the full wrestling interview. But the Chicago sports media people, get Seth in the mix here.
Let's go, guys.
Bears aficionado. Jeez.
I'm ready. Let's put the Bears on the map, man. We're going to win some games this year. I got a good feeling about it.
Yeah. All right, Seth. Be well. Take care.
See you, brother.
Thanks.